Are the Sacramento Kings in trouble? Because a team that literally 2 years ago made their first playoff run in 16, 17 seasons had supposedly, and we all thought, a bright future. And now they traded De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs. They have all their money, or a lot of their money, tied up in Sabonis, Zach LaVine, and DeRozan, who are under contract for at least 3 more years. Sabonis has a player option. Not Sabonis, Zach LaVine has a player option year 3. But at least for the next 2 or 3 seasons, they have all 3 of those players. Plus Malik Monk is under contract for, I think, 4 more seasons. And Valanciunas, his contract is not super large, but he is also signed for the next 3 seasons. And to top it all off, this offseason, Keegan Murray has a team option. Now, I'm like 99.9% sure they're going to extend him that team option, of course, because, they want to keep him. But now it's a question of, what do the Sacramento Kings do this offseason to retool this roster and get themselves, back in the conversation of where they want to be, which obviously they didn't get to, championship level, but that's where they want to go. And so they're in a really tricky spot because De'Aaron Fox was obviously their most valuable player. And they traded him to the Spurs for a deal that I thought, me personally, when the deal happened, I felt like they undersold De'Aaron Fox. Now, I don't know what the market was for De'Aaron Fox. And, we heard the reports that he wanted to go to San Antonio. So maybe that kind of, made them have less leverage because I don't know if that was the only destination he was going to go to, but we heard the reports that he wanted to go to San Antonio. So maybe that, hurt their leverage a bit in negotiations. Regardless, though, I felt like they could have got more for De'Aaron Fox. I also felt like they rushed the trade. That was my personal opinion. Like, I understand you don't want to keep someone there who may be unhappy, and I don't know if, De'Aaron Fox was really unhappy there. I'm not saying he was. But to me, it felt like they could have waited till the offseason. When we were talking about the rumors, I thought they would wait till the offseason because I felt like it felt rushed. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like they rushed to get a deal done. Now, maybe that's not actually how it went, but it felt rushed from an outside perspective. And so I say all that to say, you already traded your most valuable, player. And so now any other trade you make is not going to be worth any more than De'Aaron Fox. Like, Keegan Murray is going to have value, of course, but, like, you're not trading him. You are exercising your team option on him. I don't see them trading him at all. So now you have to look at your contracts with Sabonis, with Zach LaVine, and with DeRozan. Now, I think we can rule out Zach LaVine being traded because Zach LaVine actually, people talk about his game and all that kind of stuff and how the Chicago Bulls were trying to give him away for so long and nobody wanted to take him, which is kind of sad. But, he actually had a really good year. But I say all that to say, we know, obviously, the injury issues and, stuff like that, and his contract is rather large. But I think we can rule out them trading him because as we saw how long it took for the Chicago Bulls to get a deal done, there's no way that the Kings are going to get a trade done anytime soon for Zach LaVine, even if they tried. Because remember, the Bulls were apparently trying to attach picks to Zach LaVine. They were attaching picks to Zach LaVine, and nobody wanted to do the deal. Apparently, allegedly. Like, that's kind of crazy, right? So I still have to say, I think we can rule Zach LaVine off the table of being traded. So then you got DeRozan and Sabonis. And the problem is, they just, DeRozan just got there. I don't know if they want to trade him because he just got there. And DeRozan's a very good player. And I think he has been underrated throughout his career. I think he's always done good things. Unfortunately, the Raptors ran into LeBron every year when it was him and Kyle Lowry. So they ended up getting beat by LeBron every time they had a chance to go to the finals. And so he never got there, but with the Raptors. But I don't know that they want to trade DeRozan either, because again, he literally is like a new member of the team, and they want to see how they can play with him. But I think they also wanted him there to play with De'Aaron Fox. So that's where it got all like messy to me, because De'Aaron Fox was still supposed to be their number one guy. They got DeRozan because then it looked like, oh, De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, DeRozan, Keegan Murray, right? Like that's what we were supposed to be looking at. And so because that's not the team anymore, now you got to go find a point guard. That's one thing. You got to go get a point guard in the offseason. Like, you know, I know, I think Malik Monk is a 2. I don't know if his position says that he plays the 1 also. I understand that he could play the point guard position, but like, you need to get a point guard if you're the Kings. You have to go do that. Especially because Sabonis works best. In my opinion, you maximize his talent when you have a point guard with him. I know that Sabonis, they like to run the offense through him, and he likes to play the point forward. So I know that he will also be a ball handler, but I feel like you still need a point guard. Like, you can't ask him to always be the ball handler. Like, you want to utilize his strength and size and get him in the paint and get him, like, you know, backing people down the basket and, you know, posting up people and, you know, getting layups. So if he's running the point, he can't be doing that at the same time. So I feel like you need to get a point guard for the Kings. But the question then is, again, if you're not trading, well, I don't think you can trade Zach LaVine. I guess they'd be open to trading DeRozan, but again, I just don't know that they would be because he just got there. And then Sabonis is literally the only other player. But Sabonis' contract is very large and very long. He just signed that big extension, so he is like a 5-year, $200-something million deal. And there's definitely teams around the league who would want him, but like, then it's like, what direction are you going in, right? Because Sabonis was one of the centerpieces that you literally wanted to build around with De'Aaron Fox. You brought him in. You traded Tyrese Halliburton for Domantas Sabonis. Do you remember that? Like, the trade was Tyrese Halliburton for Sabonis. And I know a lot of people are still upset about that trade because at the time, me included, I remember thinking Tyrese Halliburton was, obviously him and De'Aaron Fox didn't play well with each other. Like, it's not that they didn't like each other, but they just, for some reason, when they played together, they didn't play great together. Like, they didn't play well off of each other, or at least not as well as we had hoped. And so they were basically had to make a decision, De'Aaron Fox or Tyrese Halliburton. And I, along with other people, thought it was going to be Tyrese Halliburton. I thought they were going to say, you know, sorry to De'Aaron Fox and trade him. And they didn't. They went with De'Aaron Fox. So I know that's a controversial trade. I know some people are very kind of like, oh, we knew in the moment they shouldn't have traded Tyrese Halliburton. Again, I agree that I thought they were going to stick with Tyrese and build around him for the future. But at the same time, because they picked De'Aaron Fox, it's not like Sabonis is like a bad player, right? Like, yes, it doesn't look great because of how it ended up, but they didn't know it was going to end up this way. And they didn't know Tyrese Halliburton was going to go to the finals like 3 years later. So was it the best trade? Did I think that they should have stuck, or did I think that they were going to stick with Tyrese Halliburton? Yes. Do I think that hindsight is 20/20 in this case? Yes. I don't think anybody imagined this happening like this. So let's be a little fair to the Kings. But I say that to say, they're in a really tricky position. Like, I feel like if they're going to continue to try to compete with this roster and basically, you know, just see what happens another year or something like that, they got to go get a point guard. That's got to be their number one target. I don't know exactly who they can get because, again, they have a lot of money tied up already in players. Somebody said, your basketball knowledge is absolutely incredible. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's very kind. Somebody else said elite ball knowledge. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you guys. You guys are so kind. So anyway, so the Kings need to get a point guard. Who that's going to be, I don't know. But again, if they're going to try to, you know, roll with these, you know, this team that they have, They got to get a point guard. And again, I think they're all good players. Sabonis, DeRozan, and Zach LaVine. It's just like the West is so loaded. You can't just, you need to like be loaded yourself, right? Like every team or majority of the teams in the West, no, every team in the West has good players. Even the Blazers, who were obviously, near the bottom of the conference and stuff like that, it's not like they don't have young and up-and-coming talent. It's just that they're young and, inexperienced. Like, they have Scoot Henderson, who was the number 2 pick in the draft behind Victor Wembanyama. They still have Anthony Simons, who has, gotten better every year he's been there. They have Shaedon Sharpe. Like, they have so much young talent, too. Like, everybody in the West has talent. And so, like, while the Kings do have good players as well, it's like other teams just have better rosters. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, this just is what it is. And so if they want to, contend for a championship, the first thing they got to do is go get a point guard this offseason. That is my tip to them. Although I'm sure they already know that. So thank you guys so much for watching this live stream. I hope you enjoyed, and see you soon. Bye.